All right, let's talk about year-end fundraising. For so many of us, it's a total make or break season, right? So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack a playbook that's all about turning that December chaos into your best fundraising month ever.
So, why all the fuss about December? Well, it really boils down to this one huge number 33%. That's right, nearly a third of all giving for the entire year happens in this one single month. The stakes, they're just incredibly high.
And get this, that giving is super concentrated. A massive chunk of that 33% comes in during the final 72 hours of the year. You know the drill. People are rushing to get in those last-minute tax-deductible gifts. This is exactly where that sense of urgency becomes your biggest opportunity. Okay, so to really capture that opportunity, you just can't wing it. Success always starts with a solid blueprint. So let's talk about phase one, setting that foundation before things really start to heat up.
It's simple, really. A focused campaign is an effective one. So instead of just kind of hoping for the best, you need a clear game plan. And that plan has to be built on data. What does that mean? It means looking at what worked last year, digging into how your donors responded, and using all that great insight to set real targets that get your whole team on the same page and fired up. And the best way to set those targets? You've probably heard of it, the SMART Goals Framework. Now, I know, it can sound like a bunch of business jargon, but trust me, it's a proven way to get super clear and hold yourselves accountable. It's what takes a fuzzy goal like, let's improve donor retention, and turns it into something concrete and actionable, like, we're going to increase repeat giving by 15% by December 31st. See the difference? You know, a one-size-fits-all message just gets totally lost in the noise, especially at year-end. That's why segmenting your donors is so critical. Think about it. For your active supporters, your goal is to make that relationship even stronger. For donors who've lapsed, it's all about a personalized welcome back. And for those first-timers, you've got two jobs: secure that first gift and immediately start building a connection for the long haul. All right, so your blueprint is set. Now it's time to move into execution. This next part is all about your communication strategy. You know, how to actually cut through all that holiday clutter and make a real, genuine connection that gets people to act. And honestly, this quote right here says it all. When everyone is getting flooded with generic appeals, personalization is your superpower. It really is. Your donors aren't just a number in a spreadsheet. They're your partners in this mission. And making them feel seen, making them feel valued, that's step one to earning their trust and their support.
So what's the most effective way to make that connection? It's storytelling, every single time. I mean, just look at the difference on this slide. Your donation helps children. Okay, that's nice, but it's totally forgettable, right? But what about your $50 gift provided school supplies for Maria, a 9-year-old? Wow. Now that paints a picture. It gives the donor a real, tangible, emotional link to their impact. You can literally see Maria with her new notebooks. So how do you actually build a story like that one? Well, first, zero in on one specific person or a single outcome. Then you want to frame it as a transformation. You know, show the before and the after that was only possible because of their support. Oh, and keep your language super simple and direct. And maybe most important of all, always address the donor with you and your. Why? Because that makes them the hero of the story. Of course, a great message also needs great timing. So here's a quick look at a sample calendar to help you map out your outreach. You're going to want to kick things off strong with Giving Tuesday, and then you strategically ramp up the urgency during that absolutely critical final week. And look, this is not about spamming people. It's about sending the right message at the right moment on all your channels. We're talking email, social, maybe even text. Okay, the donation just came in. Phew, campaign's over, right? Wrong. Not even close. This brings us to the third, and honestly, the most overlooked part of the playbook, mastering the follow-through. Seriously, what happens after someone gives is just as important, if not more important, than what got them to give in the first place. You have to remember this. The transaction might be over, but the relationship, it's just beginning. A thank you that's prompt, sincere, and personal, it does so much more than just show good manners. It tells the donor, you made a great decision, and it makes them feel like a truly valued part of your community. So here's how you can structure that follow-through. Step 1, an automated thank you and the tax receipt need to go out immediately. That is absolutely non-negotiable. Then you close the loop. You share an impact report that shows them exactly what their generosity made possible. And hey, if you ever start to doubt how important it is to show that impact, just think about this number, a staggering 97%.
That's how many donors say that seeing their impact is a major factor in whether or not they decide to give again. This, right here, is the ultimate key to keeping your donors. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second. The real goal of a year-end campaign isn't just to hit some number on December 31st. It's so much bigger than that. It's about building a foundation of support that's going to sustain your mission all year long. And the hard data completely backs this up. Just look at the average lifetime value of a recurring donor versus a one-time donor. It's more than double. This is exactly why every single interaction you have is a golden opportunity to build a deeper, more meaningful, long-term relationship. So, if there's one big takeaway from this whole playbook, it's this. You need a shift in perspective. Your year-end push isn't just a frantic sprint to a finish line. Think of it more like the most important leg in a marathon of building a loyal, engaged community of supporters who are with you for the long run. And that really brings us to our final and maybe most important question. Once the dust settles and the campaign is over, how are you going to carry all this amazing momentum into the new year? Who's going to be the very first person you connect with in January to keep building that relationship? Because answering that question, that's what separates a good campaign from a truly great one.